What up, YouTube? You can't stop trading and investing with your boy James E. Today I want to go over TSMP. He's having some struggle at that resistance level. I want to get into the technicals a little bit, but before I do that, man, please click that like button. Please subscribe. It is very much appreciated. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that likes to research and analyze anything that I find interesting in the stock market, and I like to share that with anybody who's willing to listen. So that being said, man, let's just get right into it. Let's see, TSMP. We talked about it in the previous videos. If you haven't watched them, please go and do so. We started having this run when it broke out of consolidation, when it broke that 17.5. My goal was to exit in the 23-24 range because of the resistance there, and I anticipated, we could potentially have some kind of struggle at that resistance point, which is why I wanted to exit there. We've been having these gap ups every morning. So when I woke up this morning and realized that we weren't gapping up, I figured, man, we might just have some trouble at this point. So when it opened, I sold my position here. My goal was for the 23, but it looked like my instincts were correct when I sold it at 22. I believe my sale price was 21.9. So still took a nice 32% profit, which was beautiful, because if you watch my previous videos and you go back far enough in those videos, I said the goal would be between a 30 to 40% profit. So I did capitalize and still made a 32% profit. But when I noticed we weren't getting a gap up in the morning, that's when I thought, okay, we could potentially have some kind of dip today. And sure enough, it dipped off back down to the 19 area and then maintained in the 20s, which is actually still a pretty good sign. You guys have to remember too, on the technicals, we are up 50% from the base, from this consolidation base in the 14s. So we're up, 50% already. So for me, it's not something that surprised me that we did take a dip today. I wouldn't be surprised if Monday we take another dip. So when I sold my position here, as you can see, I exited my 11.5 shares. Like I said, I took a 32% profit. So that was good. So now my plan for this going into next is either if it maintains the strength and it starts curling back, then again, I want to be a buyer at the breakout of the 24, not the 23. I did notice that it kind of continued with the trend because we had, this resistance level in 24, and then when it went to retest, it stopped a penny shorter before we finally had the dip. And then that again now, we stopped a penny shorter of the resistance of the 23, and we stopped at 22 before we finally had a dip. So, this thing could go either way. I have two buy alerts for me personally. The two areas that I'm interested in repurchasing my shares for another nice swing trade on here would be either the breakout of the 24 and maintaining over the 24 and using that resistance as support and ride this wave from the 24 to the 36. That is one potential buy for me personally, where I'd probably most likely buy 10,000 shares. It's definitely a buy signal for me. I haven't determined my actual position size yet. I will probably go over that this weekend and, consider what position size I'd like to take. But definitely a buy signal when it breaks the 24 and holds over it, which would be another nice 40% ride, 30 to 40% ride to the 36 area. And then also, if it doesn't happen and we continue to get this downward action, definitely want to dip buy again once I notice a solid base like we did right here in this consolidation area. We may potentially now base above the 17, which is definitely a possibility because, again, resistance becomes support. And that could very much be a possibility. So my two buy signals for my next swing, obviously I have a position that I do actually have for the long-term hold, but I actually exited that position as well and took a 40% profit on there. So overall, I winded up with about $1,000 profit on this trade. But I did that because, again, I anticipated this dip. I was just going to hold on to it. But again, when I didn't get the gap up I was looking for, that was already a signal for me that this thing would potentially dip. So I sold both of them right at the market open and took, like I said, 32% profit in this account and then a 40% profit on TSMP in the other account, which are beautiful profits. Just because I exited both of them doesn't mean that this is no longer on my radar. Doesn't mean I don't believe in this long term. I still very well believe in this long term. So this thing is forever going to be on my radar. But for me as a trader, again, I have watched when I had purchased in the 14s, you know, and actually my original purchase was in this area when I first got interested in the stock, try to buy the bounce, and I was in the 17 range, and then it took a dip on me, and then when it ran up here, and then I repurchased it in the 14s in this area, and then when it ran up here, I didn't take a profit, and I just watched it dip. So I'm very well anticipating this to maybe potentially dip if it doesn't maintain the strength. And if it does dip, then I will be able to capitalize and purchase more shares for my long-term hold than I already had, because I went from 7,200 for the long-term hold. And then it winded up dipping below my entry point. So I sold for a little loss and then eventually got back in with 6,500 shares. So I lost 700 shares on that. So this time I decided just to capitalize on it, take my 40% profit in my other account. And when it dips and shows again where it's basing, then I'll be able to buy now 8,000 shares or potentially more for the longer term. And then TSMP for this particular account, this is more of my swing trade, day trade with it in this particular account. So definitely my two buys are either when we're going to dip some more and maybe base over these 17s, and where I'm seeing a solid base, or if this thing recorrects and breaks through the 24s, then I definitely want to be a buyer at both of those. So in the other account, definitely a buyer on the dip for sure. And then in this particular account, I'm waiting for it to break that 24 so I could ride it to this 36 area. I'm still very much a believer in this company, guys. Don't get me wrong. I just wanted to collect that profit because I had anticipated dropping, and that's exactly what happened. I didn't get the gap up I was looking for, so that was a sign that we were most likely going to have a down day, and that's exactly what happened. So I made sure I took my profit right at the market open in both of my accounts, and which was a great thing because I could now repurchase. I could even repurchase my 6,500 shares in my other account right now for obviously for less than what I sold them for. So, you know, I mean, that's already getting a discounted price, but I believe this thing could still potentially dip some more, because the last time we tried to test that resistance level, we had a nice dip. And so, you know, we could potentially Monday get a dip back down to the 18 area. You know, it's a possibility, guys. You know, with the technicals, you never know for sure. You just have probability, and you have to weigh that probability based off of the technical analysis. And obviously, I've been in this stock for months now, so I'm kind of familiar with the way it moves. So those are my two buy signals, guys. And when it breaks to 24, definitely a buy, or when it holds its consolidation, definitely a buy for me on both those. So, you know, a down day today, but it's natural because we are at 50% from the base. So, you know, dropping this far, I'm surprised it actually held nicely in the 20s, dipped below in the 19s a little bit, but holding in the 20s is actually a good sign. So we might still see strength depending on, you know, how many more eyes get on this thing on the weekends, because it is Friday. So we now have Saturday to Sunday. And we could potentially have a push if anybody sees that as a discount as of right now. And I've been noticing TSMP has been coming up more and more on YouTuber channels, you know, recently. So that could also cause a catalyst that could propel this thing to break that 24 area. So leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of my analysis. If you made it this far, please click that like button. Please subscribe. You Can't Stop Mafia is a mindset movement, meaning never stop yourself, never stop your progress, never stop your education, especially in finance. Having multiple streams of income is an amazing thing, and the stock market is a place where you can do that. TSMP had a dip today. Exited my position in both my accounts for a 40% profit and a 32% profit, and I'm definitely going to capitalize on it when it either dips some more and holds and consolidates, or it breaks that 24 range and ride that thing to the 36s. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll be sure to keep you updated as much as possible. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.